Hey you guys, it's Dana and it's time to talk about money. And in this video, I wanted to talk all about sinking funds, what they are, how to set them up, how to use them, as well as our personal sinking fund categories and how we use them. So let's talk about that. Okay, so last week I shared a video with you guys talking all about how to set up an annual trended statement of household expenses. And in the bottom of that statement, I shared with you a couple of the categories that we use or we have set up for our sinking funds. And so a few of you asked me to go over sinking funds, so here it is. So let's talk about it. And if you don't know what a sinking fund is, it essentially is a savings account. So it's a separate savings account or a line item in your monthly budget where you save money towards an item or an event, something that is in the future, something that you know you're going to need money for, essentially, is what a sinking fund is. And so, the item is sinking, so to speak, and you're going to have to replace it. So you need to save money for that. So, car is an excellent example, right? Cars just go down in value. That's all that they do, right, over time. So eventually you're going to have to replace your car. So that's just one example of what a sinking fund is. And then you can set it up in either, like I said, a separate bank account, like a whole bank account can be just for that item or event that you're saving for, or you can do the line item in your budget, which means that every month you just have, you act as if you are spending the money. And so the line item is on there. It's, you take it out, kind of take it out of your account, but it's still floating within your main checking account, say, and then so the money's going to build and build and build in that account until the event or the item, until the money is needed, then you would have it there to use. Now, for your sinking fund, I highly, highly suggest that you automate it. Now, one of the difficulties that I see when you have a line item in your budget to save for the item that you need in your sinking fund is that it's very difficult to be disciplined and to not spend that money when it's floating in your account. And also, if you are writing a check to a separate account to save for something for your sinking fund, if you have to write the check physically every month or every 2 weeks or whenever you get paid, you are less likely to do it. Right. So that's obviously why, 401k or your taxes, the government's smart. They realize that in order to get you to pay your taxes, that they need to withhold it from your paycheck and take the money before you even get it. They have to set it to the side. So it's best to automate it as wherever and whenever you can. So automate your sinking funds if you can. For me, I can set up direct deposit through my work. So luckily for me, my employer will allow me to put as many bank accounts as I want, and I just put the bank account, the dollar amount that I want to come out per paycheck into that other account, and away it goes. I never even see it. It's just set aside in that separate account. You might have, within your company, they might limit the amount of checking accounts that you can put on your direct deposit form. And if that's the case, you can just have one or two separate bank accounts, and then within those one or two or whatever, however many you can have set off to the side, you can just within that other sinking fund bank account, you can put your list out your categories just personally. Then you just know, if you have, you can add it up. If you have 5 different categories of sinking funds and you know how much money per paycheck you want to come out, to go into those separate categories, you can just add up the total and then put that on your direct deposit form. And then you personally will know in that separate account, $100 is for this and $200 is for that. And you know what that money is sitting in there for. And so you can track it separately on paper or in a spreadsheet or however you want to do it. So I highly recommend that. And that is what we do. We have several different bank accounts, which I'm going to go over in detail with you, that I have set up in direct deposit. So money goes off to go into those accounts. Now, it wouldn't be a video of mine if we didn't talk about getting out of debt. So if you're getting out of debt or beginning your get out of debt journey, how does that relate to your sinking funds? So if you follow Dave Ramsey like we do, when you are on baby step 2, which is paying off all of your consumer debt, you're only supposed to have $1,000 in a separate savings account as your emergency fund. You're not supposed to be saving extra money on top of that. That is what he teaches. And this confused me for a while back in the beginning days. And I didn't understand this because I was like, we're not supposed to have more money in a separate savings account. But sinking funds money saved in a separate savings account would be money saved in a separate savings account. Well, if you're in the middle of getting out of debt, obviously you want to be careful with your categories. You don't want to be saving for a vacation or saving money to buy a $20,000 car just for fun because you're sick of the car you're driving. Those things don't count, right? You should not be saving for that kind of item. But if you know that a big home repair is going to be coming up, your windows are busted and you are going to have to replace your windows soon, or you're going to be freezing in the winter, or Christmas is coming, that is definitely coming, and you have children and you can't have no money for Christmas. You're not going to do that probably, right? And if you don't save in a sinking fund for those things, you're going to end up reaching for a credit card or going back into debt. So you definitely still need some sinking funds when you're paying off debt, but you might not be able to fully fund certain categories, or once you're out of debt, you're going to be able to fund these accounts further or create new sinking fund accounts. So sinking funds it's an ebb and flow. You have to reevaluate it every year. And then obviously how much money you're putting into them is going to change, correct? It's something that you set certain things, how much money you'd like to save. And so it's going to evolve. But if you're in the middle of getting out of debt, just be careful when setting up sinking funds. You don't go too crazy with them, and don't try to, fund them too high, because it's going to set you back as far as your goals of getting out of debt. Okay? All right. Okay, now if you have an event like Christmas or something coming up, you know how much it's going to cost, right? You know how much money you're going to need in 8 months to make some kind of big repair, or your sump pump has broken in your basement like ours did once, and you know you're going to need $1,000 to replace it in 5 months from now. Okay, so you know what that money is. All you have to do is take that amount of money and divide it by the number of paychecks or the number of months that you have until that event occurs. And then you'll know how much money to be putting into that sinking fund. This is where it comes in really handy if you've been doing your monthly budgets, if you've been budgeting for a couple years especially, and if you've been doing that trended statement, you know exactly how much money you spend. I know exactly how much money we spend on car repair, car maintenance. I know the average year to year, and so it makes it a lot simpler to save in a sinking fund when you have an idea how much money you're going to be needing, because then you can accurately, set up your direct deposit to put the correct amount aside per paycheck into this account, so when the time comes, you'll have enough money for it, right? All right, so to go into detail now on the actual sinking funds that we have, the categories, and we do have separate bank accounts for a good number of them. Somehow it ended up that we have 10 bank accounts, and over our 15 years of marriage, I've been, opening up these bank accounts. So that's what we have. And number one is a Christmas bank account. And in that is all the money, every paycheck direct deposited into this Christmas bank account. And I've had that one for years, and I love it. I remember the days at Christmas when we had no money and we used our credit cards, and it was so stressful. But now every single Christmas for us is a debt-free Christmas, and it just feels so much better. So I highly recommend, whatever holiday you celebrate for, setting aside this sinking fund for that event. Okay, so we have a Christmas account. Number two, we have a car repair, car replacement bank account. And certain things I really like having a separate bank account for, because I like to have a debit card linked to those accounts. And so for the Christmas account, I have a little sticker on it that says Christmas on the debit card, and we put that card away, and it only comes out around Christmas time. And then for the car repair, for oil changes, and for the annual inspection we have due, because we live in Pennsylvania, we have to do an annual inspection. On the car account, I have a debit card for that, and there's a sticker on it that says car. And then I also have checks linked to it because in case we have to replace a car, I just want to be able to write a check and pay for the car. And so I like having that separate account, separate sinking fund for car repair, car replacement with the debit card linked to it. Then third, we have an account for home repair and home remodel. We are dreaming and dreaming and dreaming desperately for a new kitchen, new bathroom. And so we have a separate account to save for home repair. Every year something happens in the house. It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of if. Dryer breaks, dishwasher, we have a flood in the basement, things happen. So we have a separate sinking fund for all of that home stuff. And that has really been wonderful. It seems like we need at least $1,000 a year for unexpected home repair items. If you own a home, this is separate, but even if your mortgage payment is the same as your rent payment, that's why people always justify buying a home. They don't think about the fact that you have all these repairs and things come up. So home ownership is expensive. And so we have this home repair account, sinking fund. We have really good health insurance, really good. I work for a healthcare organization and we've got fantastic benefits. However, it never covers hearing aids. And my husband was born with a hearing impairment and he needs hearing aids every 7 years. So we have a separate sinking fund for medical. So for his hearing aids that he has to get every 7 years. And so it's a very small amount, very small, like $10 a paycheck or something like that. And going into this hearing aid account, so every 7 years we'll have a couple $1,000s in there to pay for his hearing aids, but also for co-pays and things like that. If you have like an HSA or something, then that could be your sinking fund, your account for health related benefits. But we have this other account just for his hearing aids and stuff and for unexpected medical things that come up. And so that's a sinking fund. Next we have kids activities, braces. So this is the kids sinking fund account. And we've got 4 children. We're about to begin with braces coming up here soon. And braces, we need cash for that. And then also just throughout the year, it seems like they have a lot of things through school that we end up having to buy. Or like my niece is selling popcorn. She's one of the first girls in the Cub Scouts, which is very exciting for my brother-in-law because he's an Eagle Scout. So she is in Cub Scouts and so she's selling popcorn. So when we're going to buy, popcorn from her to help support her in the Cub Scouts, it comes out of the kids account. She's not technically our kid, but it's kid related. So I have this separate account for all those kids things through school that we have to pay for, that might be unexpected, just so I know that that's like I can also help me with tracking purposes to know how much we're spending every year for the kids stuff, whatever that is, activities, that they're doing, school dances, the father-daughter dance, things come up throughout the year that we have to pay the school for. And I just like to have that in a separate account. So that's where it lives. And, I set some money aside out of every paycheck for all those events. Then we have a vacation/camping account. Now this account's only like $200 and that's it. But camping's very inexpensive. But if you are going to be taking a vacation every year, then you can have a separate account also with a debit card linked to it, because back in the day when we would take vacations, this would be where we would always overdraw our account. This would be the area, like you go on vacation, you're, just spending money, running around, you're not really keeping track of what you're doing, money's flying in and out of your account, not in, and you end up just going over. And I actually have heard other people tell me this too, that it happens a lot. So I think it's a really good idea to have a separate vacation account with a debit card linked to it. So you have the money in there. That's where the money comes out when you're on vacation, and you can it's easier to keep keep a handle on how much you're spending or overspending when you're away on vacation if you have a separate vacation account that's separate from like your bills, in your other account, right? You don't want to say your mortgage payment's coming out and you spent too much on your vacation, so then your mortgage payment's not going to go through. I don't know. I just think it's nice to have it be separate. That way you don't have to worry about your life, your bills, your main stuff getting messed up because you're getting messed up on vacation with overspending. Hopefully you're not doing that. But so we have a separate account just for camping, so I can just pay for the $30 a night that we go camping and any little items that I want to upgrade from year to year, which is really the only vacation we've been taking is camping. Okay, so I think that was 6 accounts that we have that I mentioned. However, we also have our savings account, which is our emergency account. Our emergency money savings account, which is 7. And then our main checking account for bill paying, which is 8. And then I have our 9th account is my business account that all the money runs through from this channel and whatever else I, buy for this channel. When I pay for captioning, that comes out of that account. My expenses for it comes out of there. So that's 9. And then the 10th account is actually just a separate savings account, which is sort of, I guess this is a sinking fund for our daughter when she turns 16 to buy a car. So that's actually all her piggy bank money in there. So we don't touch that account at all. And then I actually do add money to that just a little bit. So by the time she turns 16, we can, hopefully she's gonna work. And then whatever money she earns working, we're gonna match it with the money out of this account for her to buy her first car when she's 16. Not a big fancy car, but $5,000 car is what I'm thinking. All right, so that's our 10 accounts that we have, our bank accounts. Okay, so I hope that helped to answer any questions you had about sinking funds or sinking accounts. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll do my best to answer it. If there's another topic you want me to talk on, please leave that down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get to it. And if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe. I'm here every single Tuesday talking all about money. We're a family of 6 living in the Philadelphia area. I work full-time in finance and do this channel on the side just for fun. My creative side of life. I got the accounting side, finance brain, and then I do this for creative. Okay, all right, enough said. All right, thank you guys for watching and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.